I have never owned an air conditioner. I have never paid a power bill for cooling, not once in 70 years. My house stays comfortable through every Pennsylvania summer, the same way my father's house did, and his father's house before him. We do not have a secret machine hidden somewhere. We do not have underground cooling tunnels or anything like that. We have cotton, water, and windows that open on both sides of the room. Last July, an English neighbor came to our farm to buy eggs. He stepped inside the kitchen and stood there for a moment. He said, "How is your house this cool?" There was no hum of a machine, no vent blowing cold air, no thermostat on the wall, just a quiet, comfortable room on a day that was over 90 degrees outside. I showed him what was hanging in the kitchen window, a piece of wet cotton muslin, thin enough to see light through, damp from a bucket of well water I had dipped it in that morning. He looked at it for a long time. Then he said, "That cannot be what is cooling this room." I told him it is exactly what is cooling this room, and our people have been doing it since before his people had electricity. In the next 30 minutes, I want to show you 3 things. First, why wet fabric cools the air, and it is not what you might guess. The answer is in the water itself, in what happens when it disappears. Second, why your house cannot do what my house does, and it is not because of the climate. It is because of how your house was built. After the war, the people who built American homes took away every feature that lets air move through a house, and they did it because a machine was going to do the job instead. Now, you pay for that machine every month. And third, the way to set this up in any room you have, for about $5, including the mistakes that will turn your bedroom into a steam bath instead of a cool one. My youngest son made one of those mistakes last summer, and what happened is a story the family has not stopped telling. I will get to that. But first, I need to explain something about water that most folks never think about. When water dries, it does not just disappear. It changes from liquid into vapor. That change takes energy. The energy comes from the air around it. The air gives up its heat so the water can become vapor. The air gets cooler. The water is gone. That is all there is to it. You have felt this your whole life. Step out of a pond on a breezy day and your skin goes cold. That is the water on your skin pulling heat from your body as it evaporates. A wet shirt in a breeze feels cold for the same reason. The water is stealing warmth from the air that moves across it. Now take that same idea and put it in a window. Hang a piece of wet cotton fabric in front of an open window where a breeze is coming through. The breeze pushes warm outside air through the wet fabric. The water in the fabric absorbs heat from that air as it evaporates. The air that comes through to the other side is cooler, noticeably cooler, 10 degrees, sometimes 15. On a dry day with good wind, I have felt it drop close to 20 degrees between the outside air and the air that reaches the kitchen table. I have watched this happen every summer for as long as I can remember. My mother would soak the kitchen curtains in the morning before the heat came up. By midday, the kitchen was the most comfortable room in the house. My father would check the curtain and say, "Wet it again, it is drying." We did not think of it as a trick or a method. We thought of it the way you think about opening a door when you want to walk through it. It was just what you do when it gets hot. Have you ever stepped into a barn on a hot day and noticed it is cooler inside than the field? That is the same thing happening. The stone or wood holds coolness from the night. The air moves through the open doors on both ends. The shade keeps the sun off the walls. A barn is a cooling machine that does not use a single wire. Your house used to work the same way. It can again. This works because cotton holds water well and lets air pass through at the same time. A thick blanket holds water but blocks the air. A thin plastic sheet lets air past but holds no water. Cotton is the balance. It holds the water in its fibers while the air moves through the weave. That is why cotton and not something else. Our grandmothers knew this without knowing the science behind it. They just knew that a wet sheet in the window on a hot day made the house bearable, and they were right. But here is the part that matters for anyone living in a modern home. This only works if the air can move through the room. The breeze comes in through the wet fabric on one side, and it has to leave through an opening on the other side. If there is no opening on the other side, the air sits still. The water does not evaporate because there is no movement to carry the moisture away. The room gets damp. The heat stays. Nothing cools. This is where your house and my house are different, and the difference is not an accident. It was a choice that somebody made before you moved in. I will tell you who made that choice and why after I show you the steps. But first, understand this. In our houses, every room has windows on at least 2 walls. The kitchen has windows facing east and west. The bedrooms have windows on opposite sides. The doors between rooms stay open during the day so air moves through the whole house, like water through a creek. When I hang wet fabric in the east window in the morning, the breeze comes through from the fields, passes through the cotton, cools down, crosses the room, and exits through the west window. The whole house is a channel. We built it that way on purpose. My grandfather built it that way. His father built it that way. It was not something they invented. It was just how you build a house when you do not have a machine to cool it. And it was how everyone in this country built houses until they stopped. Why they stopped is a story about money, not about comfort. An English neighbor of mine found that out last July when he came to buy eggs and walked into a house with no air conditioner that was cooler than his. I will tell you what happened when he tried it at home, but let me first show you how to set it up. Now here is what happened to your house. And this is the part that should bother you because it was done without anyone asking your opinion. After the war, the people who built houses in this country changed the way they built. I watched it happen from the other side of the fence. They made the houses smaller to save money. They put the windows on fewer walls because it was cheaper. They dropped the ceilings from 10 or 12 feet down to 8 because lower ceilings cost less to build and less to heat in winter. They closed in the porches that used to shade the walls from the summer sun. They took out the transom windows above the doors that let air flow between rooms. They did all of this because a machine was going to handle the cooling, the air conditioner. The builder did not need to design the house to cool itself because the machine would do it. And the machine needs electricity. And the electricity comes with a bill. And the bill comes every month from May to September for as long as you own the house. I remember when the first row of new houses went up about 2 miles from our farm. Must have been the early 1960s. 12 houses, all the same. Small front yards, no porches, windows all on one side facing the street. I walked past one on a summer afternoon, and every one of them had a box on the side humming away. 12 machines running at the same time. I asked my father what those boxes were for. He said they cool the house because the house cannot cool itself. I was maybe 12 years old, and even then I thought that was a strange way to build a house. Have you ever walked through your house and counted how many rooms have windows on two opposite walls? If the answer is none, your builder saved money by not giving you what our builders have always given us. And now you live in that house. And the machine costs you $400 to $600 every summer. And if the machine breaks on a Friday afternoon, the way it did for one family down the road last year, you sit in a sealed box with no way to move the air until the repairman comes on Monday. You are trapped inside a house that was built to depend on a machine, and the people who sell the electricity for that machine are perfectly happy with the arrangement. Our houses were never built that way. We never had the machine, so we never lost the design. The windows still open on both sides. The ceilings are still high. The porches still shade the walls. The air still moves. What the English world threw away, we simply kept. And keeping it costs nothing. Here is how to set it up in your house. It does not matter that your house was not built like ours. You can work with what you have. Step 1. Find your airflow path. You need 2 openings on different sides of the room. 2 windows on opposite walls is best. If your bedroom has windows on only one wall, open the bedroom door and open a window at the far end of the hallway. The air will come in through the bedroom window, cross the room, go out the door, through the hallway, and out the far window. You are creating a path. Without the path, nothing works. Step 2. Get a piece of thin cotton fabric. Muslin works best. Cheesecloth works. A thin, flat bed sheet works. You want fabric loose enough that air passes through it easily. A heavy bath towel will block the breeze entirely. You need thin cotton. A few dollars at any fabric shop or dry goods store. Step 3. Soak the fabric in cold water. Wring it until it is damp but not dripping on the floor. Hang it in the window where the breeze comes from. You can clip it to the curtain rod, tack it to the frame, or hang it from a tension rod. It should cover the whole opening. Step 4. Open the window on the other side of the room. This is where the air exits. The breeze enters through the wet fabric, cools down, crosses the room past where you are sitting or sleeping, and leaves through the opposite opening. Now I need to tell you about my son, because this is where he went wrong, and the whole family learned from it. Last August, my youngest decided to cool the upstairs bedroom for his wife because she was having trouble sleeping in the heat. He meant well. He took one of the heavy wool blankets from the winter chest, soaked it in the horse trough until it weighed about 30 pounds, and hung it over the only window in the room. One window, heavy wool, soaking wet, no second opening anywhere. Within an hour, the room was hotter and wetter than outside. The wool blocked every bit of breeze. The water had nowhere to evaporate because there was no air movement. The room turned into something like a bathhouse. Water was dripping off the blanket onto the floor and pooling under the windowsill. The humidity was so thick you could feel it on your skin the moment you walked in the door. His wife came downstairs, looked at him, and said, "I am sleeping on the porch tonight." She did. The next morning at breakfast, my son told the family what he had done. His older brother asked him why he used wool. My son said it holds the most water. His brother said that is why you do not use it. The whole table laughed. My son's wife did not laugh. She said next time, "Ask your father before you turn my bedroom into a swamp." He learned 3 things that evening. Thin fabric, not thick. 2 openings, not 1. And always ask before you experiment on the bedroom. The family has told this story at every gathering since, and I expect they will be telling it for years to come. Step 5. Re-wet the fabric every 2 to 4 hours as it dries. On a dry, hot day, the cotton dries fast because the evaporation is working hard. That means it is cooling well, but needs more water. On a humid day, it stays wet longer but cools less. Either way, check it and re-wet when it starts to feel only slightly damp. Step 6. In the evening, when the sun goes down and the outside air cools, take the wet fabric down and open every window in the house. Let the cool night air flow through without any barrier. The walls, the floor, the furniture, they all soak up that cool air like a sponge. In the morning, they hold that coolness for 2 or 3 hours into the next day. Close the windows before the heat comes, and your house starts the day already cool. This is how we sleep comfortably every summer night. The night air does the work while you rest. If this is making you think differently about your next electricity bill, I hope you will consider staying with us. I have something to share next week that your water company would rather you not see. I want to tell you what I have watched happen to the English homes around our community over the 50 years I have been paying attention, because this is the part that ties it all together. When I was a young man, the farms and houses near ours still had porches. They still had tall windows. You could stand outside a neighbor's house in the summer and hear the breeze moving through from front to back. Those houses breathed. They did not need a machine because they were built to do the work themselves. Then the new houses came, the developments, rows and rows of small houses with low ceilings and windows that all faced the same direction. The porches were gone, the transoms were gone. The first summer, every one of those houses had a metal box on the side running from May to September. The electricity wires to that part of the road had to be upgraded because the demand was so much higher than before. I watched families move in over the years, and every summer they complained about 2 things: the heat and the bill. The heat, because the machine never quite made the house feel the way an old house with open windows felt. And the bill, because the machine ate electricity the way a horse eats hay. Steadily, constantly, all season long. That neighbor who came to buy eggs last July, he went home after I showed him the wet cotton in the window. His wife thought he was joking. He set it up anyway in their bedroom. 2 windows on opposite walls, thin cotton curtain from the dollar store, bucket of water on the floor to re-wet it at night. He came back a week later and told me his wife slept with the windows open for the first time in 11 years. He said the air in the room felt different from the air that comes out of the machine. He said it felt real. He said his wife told him it reminded her of sleeping at her grandmother's house when she was a girl. That house had a porch and windows on both sides, too. She said she had forgotten what real air felt like because the house had been sealed up every summer since they bought it. The machine made the air cold, but it did not make the air feel like air. She did not know how to explain it better than that, and she did not need to. I understood exactly what she meant. He asked me how much it cost. I told him the cotton was about $3 and the water was free. He said his electricity bill last July was $420. He stood there for a long moment doing the arithmetic in his head. Then he said, "Amos, that is $5,000 I have spent on cooling in the last 12 years. I said, "Yes, it is." He did not say anything after that. He just bought his eggs and went home. Now, I want to be honest about when this does not work as well. I always try to be honest about the limits of anything I share because I would rather you trust me on 10 things then doubt me on one. If you live in a place where the summer air is very heavy with moisture, like down along the coast or in the deep south, the wet fabric still helps, but the cooling is smaller. The air is already holding so much water that it cannot take on much more from the fabric. In our part of Pennsylvania, the air is dry enough most days that this works well. In a place like Louisiana or Alabama in August, it will take the edge off, but it will not replace a machine on the worst days. I have never been to those places, but I have talked to people who moved here from there, and they say the humidity is a different kind of heat altogether. On days with no breeze at all, the air does not move through the fabric, and there is no cooling. Those still heavy days happen maybe 5 or 6 times a summer here. When they do, we sit on the porch in the shade, drink cold water from the well, and wait for evening. Not every day can be made comfortable. Some days you just endure. That is honest. And if anyone in your family has trouble breathing in humid air, keep an eye on the dampness in the room. The wet fabric adds moisture to the air. For most people, it is comfortable and natural. For some, it is not. Here are 4 mistakes that will ruin this for you. Mistake number 1, using thick fabric. Heavy towels, wool blankets, thick quilts. They hold water, but they block air. You need thin cotton that the air flows through. If you cannot see light through the fabric when you hold it to the window, it is too thick. Mistake number 2, only one opening. I told you what happened to my son. No air path means no evaporation, means no cooling. 2 openings minimum on different walls. Mistake number 3, hanging the wet fabric on the wrong side. The fabric goes in the window where the breeze is coming from, not the window where the air is leaving. If you put it on the exit side, you are cooling the air as it leaves your room instead of as it enters. You just cooled the outside instead of the inside. Have you ever done something in the kitchen and realized halfway through you did it backwards? This is that, except with physics. Mistake number 4, and this is the one that explains why you have been paying a power bill every summer. Believing that comfort in your own home requires a machine and a monthly payment. It does not. It never did. For thousands of years, people in hotter climates than yours lived comfortably in homes made of mud, stone, and wood. They used water, shade, airflow, and patience. The air conditioner is not even 100 years old. The idea that you cannot survive summer without one is younger than most of the people watching this. Our people have lived in this part of Pennsylvania since the 1700s. Same heat, same humidity, same summers, no machine. We are comfortable because we build for it, and we live with the rhythm of the day instead of fighting it. The old ways work. They have always worked. The only thing that changed is that someone figured out they could sell you a machine, and someone else figured out they could sell you the electricity to run it. And between the two of them, they made sure your house could not work without their product. That is not progress. That is a bill that never stops. Let me give you the simple numbers. The average family pays $400 to $600 to cool their house every summer. Over 30 years, that is $12,000 to $18,000. A piece of cotton fabric costs $5 and lasts for years. The water comes from your tap. The breeze comes from outside. The total cost after the first summer is nothing. I will tell you what that money means in my world. $12,000 is a new buggy and a team of horses. It is a year of feed for the animals. It is lumber for a barn addition. It is real things that last and work and produce. In the English world, that same money goes to a power company that sends a bill, and a repairman who sends another bill, and a manufacturer who sells you a new machine when the old one breaks. The money flows out and nothing stays. In our world, the money stays because the expense never existed. The house cools itself. It always has. Our family has spent nothing on cooling for as long as anyone can remember. And our house is comfortable. Not because we are tougher than you. Not because we do not feel the heat. We feel it the same way you do. The difference is that our house was built by people who knew that air and water do the work if you let them. My father taught me this. His father taught him. His father's mother taught him, most likely, because in those days it was the women who managed the house, and they knew exactly how to keep it cool. It was not a discovery. It was not a secret. It was just the way things were done before the world decided it needed a machine for everything. The cotton is in any store. The water is in your tap. The breeze is already outside your window. The only thing standing between you and a cooler room is the idea that you cannot be comfortable without paying someone every month for the privilege. You can. You always could. Our people have been proving it for over 200 years in the same county, the same heat, the same summers. And every summer, the proof is the same. A quiet house with no hum of a machine, a kitchen that smells like the fields outside, and a cotton curtain drying slowly in a window, while the breeze does the work that used to cost you $500 and a phone call to the power company. If you want to see what I am sharing next week about your water, that is on your screen now. Stay with us.